right, what's going on, everybody? We've got our Otis Kirk. Of course, he is our football insider, specifically on recruiting, and that's where we're going to start today. Hey, Otis, it's a big weekend for a lot of these guys. I know we've talked about it, but a lot of these incoming freshmen, as a part of this 2021 class, the early enrollees getting to campus, seem really excited about it.
Yeah, we've seen tweets from Lucas Coley, Rocket Sanders, Chris Paul, Tykese Crawford, a bunch of them, and they're all excited. This is Christmas part 2 for Sam and his staff. They're getting these kids, here a couple of weeks after Christmas. But boy, what a Christmas present it is, about somewhere around 15 kids coming in, counting some walk-ons. Just a great time for these players. These are guys that's going to be able to go through spring ball. I'm going to assume there's spring ball, Alyssa, until it's canceled. Yeah, I mean, right. That's all we can do. I have people all the time say, there'll be no spring ball. Well, I mean, people were telling me there was going to be no season last year, and Arkansas played 10 games. So, no, I'm just going to assume there's spring ball until it's canceled, and then we'll talk about something else. But, no, these kids will get – but regardless of that, they're going to go through the off season. What's happening? They're coming in today. They're going to take their COVID test. All of them will take their COVID test. The ones that pass, Sam is hoping to get this stuff back tomorrow, the results, and they usually do the next day. Then the kids will be able to start lifting and going through the off-season program. So even at that, that's going to help a lot of them because, let's face it, Arkansas has a better weight program than high schools do. Colleges just do. These big SEC schools, they got those expensive weight rooms for a reason. He's the best strength coaches in the country. So Jamil, Jamil knows what he's doing, and it's going to be great for those kids to get to work with those guys, regardless of what happens in spring football. But it's just Tykese is probably the strangest one of the bunch, and I don't mean that in a bad. I mean, his story is probably the strangest, is what I mean. He's not strange. His story is the strangest, other than his love for country music. But he likes the old country music my dad and mother used to like. We've argued about that. I don't get that, but anyway, being serious. No, Tykese is kind of a different story because he committed to Arkansas. Well, he committed to Baylor. Committed to Arkansas, decommitted about, probably 20, 30 minutes after the Kentucky game. It seemed like almost 10 minutes to me, but because I'm writing the story and trying to do interviews, and he's decommitting. Arkansas lost to Kentucky up there last year. Then he signed with Charlotte, went and played 6 games. That's all they played because of the COVID. He started 3 of those games, played well. And then he left there. And now he's in Arkansas. So, boy, you talking about a path that's kind of leading like Highway 71. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but I'm from Nina. Looking like 71, yeah. Highway 71. So, Tykese is here, 6'5", 235-pound offensive lineman from Carthage. And guess what? He may not be the last one from Carthage they get for a while, listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a great segue there, Otis, into the next guy we're going to talk about, and that's Kip Lewis, who is a linebacker in the 2022 class, a guy from Carthage, Texas.
Yeah, they went 14-0 this year. They went 16-0 last year. He and Tykese were teammates last year. Now Kip got hurt and didn't play in the playoffs last year, but they won state. They went 16-0. This year they're 14-0. They're 30-0 with Kip play it. That's a pretty good record. I mean, Arkansas offered him Friday. He's 6'3", about 200 maybe. He's he had 140 tackles this season. He didn't get hurt this year. Last year he hurt his knee, like I said, in the playoffs, but he had 140 tackles. 17 of them went for loss. He's got offers to Arkansas, Houston, and Oklahoma State, but he's going to get a bunch of offers. He's a very good linebacker. Tykese is already working to get him to Arkansas. So this is a big time. I mean, this is a good player, a very good player. He's 2022. I don't think I said that, but anyway, he's got another year to play at Carthage. They're on a streak. I mean, they're on a run. Like I said, 30-0. I mean, Jesus, 2 state champions. I believe there are 4. Somebody can correct me on the internet, which I know they will if I'm wrong. But I believe they're Class 4A Division II in Texas. I get that mixed up down there, but I believe they're Class 4A Division II. But they've won 2 state championships in a row, haven't lost a game since, what would that be, 2018? So, I mean, you get kids like that, they know how to win.
Yeah.
They know how to win. And I mean, yeah, that's two kids, but they come from programs, they're not used to losing. So they're going to, kids like that find a way at the end to dig down and win the game for you, you know. And so he's a good football player. He had some interceptions, but yeah, Arkansas is certainly in the hunt for him. I think having Ty Keese here will probably help them, no doubt.
Yeah.
And maybe Arkansas can reel him in. They've got 3 commitments for 2022, in case people be wondering about that. Arkansas does. And linebacker is going to be, you know, you're going to lose Grant Morgan and Bumper Poole after next season. You're going to lose them unless there's a COVID deal where Buffer can come back and play another year. Who knows? But they're both seniors, so this is probably their last year. So you're going to need some linebackers in that next class. Yeah. I mean, they've got some on campus. Some of these young guys are going to step up. I get that. And we talked about Chris Paul, Marco Event coming in early. So, but you always need linebackers, and Chip would be a good one to start with.
I was going to say, yeah, they definitely need depth there. That's something that Sam Pittman said the moment he stepped on campus a year ago. All right, the next guy, Trevante Citizen, he's also a class of 2022. He's a running back. What do you like about him?
He and James Joyner, I think Arkansas would take those two right here today. Joyner being from Parkview. Trevante is from Lake Charles College Prep in Louisiana. I think Arkansas would take James Joyner and Trevante Citizen today and call it a season at running back, call it a recruiting season. They're both 2022. There's other running backs they've offered and they like and they won't, but those two kids are really high on their list. Trevante is interesting in the sense that not only did he play running back down there, he's 6 foot, 200. He played linebacker as well. He doubled up at linebacker. Had 66 tackles on defense. He played played linebacker. He rushed for 615 yards and 8 touchdowns. Caught a few passes out of the backfield, not that many. And they had another running back too that he shared time with that got over 1,000 yards this year. I believe their record was 10-1, and I don't know the division they played in, Alyssa, so I won't even make a fool of myself and miss that one. But I'm pretty sure they were 10-1. But in other words, another kid from a winning program. And so I really think that's important. But he's got offers to Tulane, Arkansas, Maryland, Virginia, Tennessee, Penn State, and Virginia. So he's got some, I'm sorry, Mississippi State. I think I said Virginia twice. Mississippi State was first offer, yeah. But he's got those offers. He's another kid. That's 7 offers. He'll get a lot more. Arkansas offered him on May the 15th. So just good size. He's he's 6 foot 200. Joyner is 6 foot, about 201, something like that. They're really similar kids, you know. And Joyner had much better stats, but he didn't. But they're both about the same size. They're the type size kids that Jimmy Smith likes to have there at tailback. So, we'll see how this plays out. There's going to be a lot of competition for him, just like there will be Kip Lewis. Yeah, there'll be a lot more schools. So they're going to offer these kids. When I say 3 offers for one, 7 for the other, don't freak out. They're going to be a lot more offers for these kids than that. It's just started, and so I mean, teams are still working on their 2021 class, which Arkansas still has 3 to take care of there.
Yeah, switching gears to that's kind of the foreseeable future right now for Sam Pittman and this staff. Signing day is February 3rd. They pretty much got who they want. And so as people sit here and say, well, what are they've got scholarships, what are they going to do with them? Patience is a virtue, right?
Right, and that's where you're at, because they had 4, and they were going to be patient with those 4. They're going to be, in all likelihood, and you can't say this for certain because some big-time high school player might fall into their lap. Their coaching changes, and somebody might get out of his letter of intent. So you can't say for sure it'll be you can't say for sure it'll be transferred. But they're looking for players, impact defensive linemen. They wanted an offensive lineman, and they were going to be patient there. But when then Ty Keese left Charlotte, that's what that's what you were looking for. Why wait? And if 3 Ty Keese Crawfords on the defensive line fell into their place or at other positions, some of these are going to be defensive linemen, maybe all 3, but some of them will be for sure. Probably at least 2 will be defensive linemen of those 3 left. If a Ty Keese Crawford type talent came available, sure, they're going to take him. But they don't mind being patient, because who knows if a Felipe Franks of the defensive line, that type defensive line becomes available after spring ball. You and I were talking off there. We were talking about how many players become available after spring ball,
Right.
and so they can afford to kind of be patient here.
Mm-hmm.
They're observing and they're aware of the kids that are in the transfer portal right now and stuff. They're aware of all that, and we got to remember junior colleges are going to, a lot of them, Mississippi, Jalen Williams and them played this fall, but a lot of these kids, like in Kansas, most of the junior colleges are going to play in the spring. Mississippi may have been the only one that played in the fall. I mean, yeah, in the fall. So there's junior college kids. There's a lot of stuff out here. There's a lot of stuff out here that these coaches are, and they're aware of all of it, and they're observing it. But they know that they can afford to be patient. They signed 3 defensive tackles on the early signing period. They got Solomon Wright, Jalen Williams, who's coming in today, and then they got one more. Who am I missing? Jalen Williams, Solomon Wright. Oh, Cameron Ball. We only talked about him 400 million times. Boom! I'll shoot myself on that one. I mean, I don't know how I forgot, but Cameron Ball. So.
Yeah.
They signed 3 very good defensive linemen. All 3 of those kids can play, but so they can afford to be patient, Alyssa. So you end up with 3 defensive linemen early. 1 will be here midterm, and 1 on the offensive line. Takis is here. The 3 high school kids on the offensive line will be here. Those. For people, and I've had people ask me, when will the Landon Rogers, Aaron Outleys, the kids that's not coming early, AJ Greens, when will they be here? It's late May, early June. Cole Carson has told me May the 29th. So late May, early June, expect the rest of these kids. There's probably 10 or so that not going to be at midterm, plus the 3 defensive linemen that they may add, or the 3 transfers later on. So, but yeah, it's going to be late May. But this summer for the workouts, they'll have probably all their team here, and so it's shaping up really good for Sam. I mean, considering all the obstacles that man's faced since he took this job, and people were talking about, well, you can't win at Arkansas. That's been the least of his concerns.
Right.
I mean. He's got hit with COVID, can't go off campus, and crew can't have camps on campus. I mean, he's been hit with everything except he went on the field and won 3 SEC games, which,
Yeah. Well, it makes you think when he gets all that back to his access, what he's gonna be able to do, right?
He and his staff are doing a very good job. And the biggest thing that I've been impressed with, I know we don't get access to very many of them, just Sam and a couple of times with the coordinators early, but they're not pointing fingers or complaining, about the cards that they were dealt. I mean, and in fairness, the other schools have been dealt the same cards. But it's just that Sam is a new coach here, and he's never got to host a camp here. He got to host 2 junior days, one on February the 1st, and then one on March 7th, I believe it was, something like that. So I mean, it'd be easy to say, man, and start pointing finger or whining about it or whatever. And they haven't done that, so that's impressive. And you're right. When they everything gets back somewhat normal, and they get to start doing all this stuff, going out and seeing kids on campus or out at their high schools and junior college, hosting these camps. These camps are huge. Yeah, it's really huge. There's so many kids in Arkansas right now that are suffering as far as scholarship offers because they weren't able to go to camps, and that's a shame, especially the kids at smaller schools or rural schools. Not everybody's at Fayetteville High School or Little Rock Parkview or or Joe T, or Bentonville. Those kids are stuck in places that are in the middle of nowhere, and it's hurting them. And but it's but then again, like I said, you say that about every state. So it's not like a few years ago when they had that D rule here, John White's D rule in Arkansas, where it was Arkansas and they were competing against schools that didn't have that rule. That was unfair. This is a deal where everybody's got it. Hopefully it straightens out and we get to see what Sam and them can do when it does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Otis, thanks so much for the time. Always appreciate your insight. And of course, we will catch up with you next week.
You bet. Thanks, Alyssa. Appreciate you.